Hello, I'm Joseph Dillard. Welcome to our self-directed Integral Deep Listening curriculum. What is Integral Deep Listening, or IDL for short? It is a lot of things. It's a dream yoga, an integral life practice, a self-development methodology, an emerging potential interviewing methodology, and a way of accessing the priorities of your unique life compass. Today, I want to explain what the name Integral Deep Listening refers to. Let's get started. If you are like most people, you probably think you already know yourself pretty well. However, if that is the case, why are dreams still puzzling and strange? Why don't we automatically understand them? If we already know ourselves, why is it that we are often our own worst enemy? If we humans are the crown of civilization, why are we, as a species, on the verge of mass annihilation through nuclear holocaust or environmental devastation? Clearly, intelligence, mystical experiences, or the quest for enlightenment provide no guarantees of the end of exploitation, discrimination, or even the development of self-respect. Something basic needs to change about how we understand and deal with ourselves and raise our children. Many children are out of touch with themselves, and much more so with their life compass. I know I certainly was, and it made growing up a much more difficult and painful experience than it had to be. How would your life decisions have been different if you had known who you were and how you best needed to grow when you were, say, 10 years old? For myself, I know it would have saved me a lot of confusion and wasted time because I wouldn't have made so many poor choices. Good personal choices create good collective choices that improve life for everyone and reduce human exploitation of each other and our life space. Deep listening, as used here, refers to our ability to listen to and accurately hear ourselves and others in a respectful way. These others are both external others, including not only people but animals and the living systems in which we are embedded, and internal others, including our dream characters and mental imagery. Integral deep listening is the art and skill of listening respectfully and deeply empathizing with the crazy and mysterious things that are conjured up out of our imagination, whether they are dream monsters or the personifications of life issues, like a blazing fire that pops into our mind when we think about our rage. To listen deeply in an integral way means that we take into account what a dream bathtub or the bat, which personifies our fear, has to say regarding specific life issues that matter to us. The assumption is that these arise in our awareness because they have something to say, and that therefore it is wise to ask what that might be and carefully listen to the response. You might interview a sailboat from a dream, and through experiencing your world through its frame of reference, that sailboat introduces you to a deeper experience of being in balance, harmony, and flow. And flow is a state similar to that of improvising jazz musicians or talented athletes, or it may put you in touch with being one with the water, sky, and a well-tuned sailing craft. Do you think that might make a significant positive experience in your life? How about the life of an adolescent struggling to figure out who they are? One man interviewed a truck, an 18-wheeler, from a dream. The experience of becoming that 18-wheeler provided an important and needed experience of unrecognized transformational power, endurance, and capability to keep focused as this man plowed through the obstacles he faced in his everyday life. When we are in such a state of flow, life works. How good are you at staying in a space of flow in the course of your everyday life? If you had learned that skill as a young person, how might your life have turned out differently? What suffering, misfortune, and poor choices might you have avoided? How valuable would that have been for you in your life? How valuable might it be for your children or grandchildren to learn such a skill? Integral deep listening puts you in contact with this sort of experience of your life, with perspectives that are in flow, that are in balance, both within you and with the world. How often do we listen to alternative and authentic interior perspectives like our dream characters? The answer for most of us is not very often. Most of us haven't learned these simple skills, mostly because we see no need to. This is because we have not been taught to learn to think that doing so is other than a waste of our time. We don't recognize the connection between respecting the seemingly absurd and irrational and our pressing waking concerns, such as financial security, acceptance, and personal success. Well, listen to what a dream villain like Sauron in Mordor, or a tornado that personifies the chaos in your life, has to say. Why interview and listen to imaginary characters when we have bills to pay and pressing real problems in our everyday lives? We don't demonstrate respect, reciprocity, trustworthiness, and empathy toward ourselves. If we don't, is it realistic to expect that we will show it toward others? I am reminded of a famous quote: "As you do toward the least of these, you so do to me." Instead, we humans typically imagine that we are indeed respectful toward all, while in reality, being much less than respectful. Is it cynical to note that in practice we humans tend to do what we can to advance our own self-interest, and that the collectives with which we identify at the expense of others? Why should we expect intelligence, intent, or spirituality to magically create an ethical culture and moral society when we, as individual members of our society, don't demonstrate respect toward our own fundamental nature? Integral deep listening gets us unstuck by exposing us to alternative, authentic, and useful worldviews that speak to us and make sense to us because they are innate and authentic. They fit with who you are and your reality because they reflect the priorities of your own unique life compass. The experiments in interviewing dream characters and the personifications of life issues, like the pit of our pit of despair, or the knife of the knife-like pain in our back, have shown that such elements are emerging potentials that can point us toward our own unique life compass. When we build our lives on its priorities, we step out of our familial scripting and life dramas. We are no longer captives of groupthink, cultural zeitgeist, or propaganda designed to manufacture our consent while separating us from happiness, service to others, and peace of mind. As we reconnect with what is good, true, harmonious, and just within ourselves, others around us are inspired to learn to do the same. You and I, our families, employers, nations, and our entire global community are stuck in the subjectivity of our normal way of looking at life, called our worldview. The price we pay for this is poor decision-making based on partial and biased information. We put short-term gain ahead of creating a better world for our children's children. Society is transformed from the inside out by teaching ourselves and others to demonstrate a respectful relationship toward the most ignored and neglected aspects of our own inner experience, the imaginary worlds of our images and dreams. A contemporary of Socrates and Gautama, Confucius, grasped this fundamental principle when he said, "If there is righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in the character. If there is beauty in the character, there will be harmony in the home. If there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nations. When there is order in the nations, there will be peace in the world." We lack a method for accessing these perspectives in a helpful way. Integral Deep Listening provides such a method, yoga, or integral life practice, that extends beyond interviewing imaginal elements to both diffuse our barriers to development and support development. Integral Deep Listening also refers to an entire family of life skills that we can learn to help us get out of our own way so we can see clearly and act respectfully both toward ourselves and others. These include recognizing and freeing ourselves from the dysfunctional aspects of our life scripting, harmful psychological drama, cognitive distortions, biases, and fallacies, while learning to set realistic, meaningful goals, to be assertive, to advance our problem-solving ability, to practice meditation and pranayama, and to set a clear and meaningful life intent that aligns us with priorities of our own unique life compass. When we apply what we hear, change our behavior, and put into practice what we have heard, deep listening has been integrated into who we are. And that change will be reflected in our choices, problem solving, and relationships. As you practice this yoga, your nighttime dreams will give you ongoing feedback. Do you recognize when you are stuck more quickly? Do you get yourself unstuck in relationships and work situations more easily? Are you headed in the right direction? Are you doing a better job of deep listening in an integral way? If an interviewed character, regardless of how inconsequential, threatening, or absurd it may appear, shares a recommendation that makes sense about how to handle an important life issue for you, such as what career path to choose or how to escape a destructive family drama, doesn't it make sense to test the value of that recommendation? Aren't we being short-sighted and foolish if we don't? When we test such recommendations, we are demonstrating that we have indeed listened in a respectful way. In this sense, IDEO is a cybernetic or self-correcting yoga, which keeps you from deluding yourself or getting sidetracked from your greater good. If this sounds too good to be true, I invite your skepticism. Work through these videos at your own pace. Take the material as seriously as you would a course of study or yoga. Test these processes in your daily life. Keep what works and throw out the rest. Do you have questions or comments? Let us know how we can help by sharing your interests in the section below this video or at Friends of IDEO on Facebook. You will find more information at integraldeeplistening.com, and for those who wish for a deeper dive, there are texts on Integral Deep Listening at the URL below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.